Hello, this is Tanisha Thomas. This is my digital presentation, Equipment for Living in Disney's Tangled, A Journey Outside the Tower, exploring the effect of films on reducing social anxiety behaviors. Equipment for Living. Kenneth Burke said that literature could be used as equipment for living when offering wisdom and common sense to people, and therefore guiding them through the way they live their lives. Disney's Tangled provides equipment for living for individuals struggling with social anxiety to step out of their comfort zone. Literature review. I have 4 sources that I use for my literature review. Stephen Young, who said the audiences can relate the meaning of art to their own reality. Dale Seipert focused on the physicality of the film The Fugitive as a vehicle of persuasion. Zhang, Yi, and Zai suggested that the theater is a good method and model to show how it can be applied to life situations. And Jurgensen said that film can be used as equipment for living for a religion study. Methodology. There's 2 things that I wanted to focus on, social psychology and the uncertainty reduction theory. Social psychology studies how one's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are influenced by the actual, imagined, or implied presence of others. The uncertainty reduction theory is how we gain knowledge about other people. And as you can see in this picture, it is of Flynn Rider and Rapunzel when he stumbles upon the tower as he's trying to elude the police, and she thinks he's there to kidnap her for her hair. Anxiety. Social anxiety can be different for everybody. It can be very mild. You really don't show that much anxiety, or it can be very severe. How we interact with one another shape how we view not only ourselves but other people. And one of our first influences is our parents and family. Also, how important those people are to us, the more influence that they have. So you can relate to say that your parents are very influential in your life. Data. The data that I used in my paper was on parental overprotection and how that is associated with social anxiety in youth. The article that one of the articles that I used was Parental and Peer Predictors of Social Anxiety in Youth by Candace Fiesta and Golda Ginsberg, which focused on social anxiety in youth. Also, I chose 3 scenes. The scene 1 was Mother Gothel teasing and belittling Rapunzel. Scene 2, Mother Knows Best, which is the YouTube video I have provided. And that kind of goes into more depth of the teasing and belittling Rapunzel. And scene 3, Rapunzel finally steps out of the tower. This is the Mother Knows Best YouTube video. You're welcome to take a look at it, and you will see how Mother Gothel manipulates Rapunzel into thinking that she is not capable of going outside this tower and doing things on her own. On this next slide, we have uncertainty reduction theory again, and the other photo is when Rapunzel steps out of the tower. When Flynn Rider gets into the tower, again, I said he was trying to elude the police because he had stolen the lost princess's crown. And so she ties him up with her hair, and she's like, with her frying pan, who sent you, and how did you know I was here, and what are you going to do with my hair? So by directly interrogating Flynn, she was able to try and figure out what's really going on. In doing so, she's like, I'll give you back your little satchel if you take me to see these floating lights, which is what she's wanted to do for many years. And not being allowed outside the tower, she hasn't done so. So she just saw them from her window of her room. And in this second photo, you see her little foot touching the grass for the first time, and she is completely overwhelmed with emotion. She's saying, I can't believe I'm doing this, as she's swinging from the tree and running around and touching flowers, and just overwhelmed with the outside world, because she's never experienced it. And she goes from being really, really happy to really, really sad and sobbing that she's like, oh no, I've made a mistake, I disobeyed my mom, and she's going to be furious with me. I need to go back. And then in the same breath, she's like, no, I really want to do this, and I'm going to do this. I can do this. I'm strong enough to do this. In these next three photos, the first one is Mother Gothel catches Rapunzel in the forest. And again, she belittles her and tells her that, there's no way that Flynn Rider, aka Eugene, is in love with her. He couldn't possibly just look at her. He's just using her. There's no way that he could love her, and she just needs to come back home. She'll forgive her, and she just needs to come back home. The second photo, Rapunzel finally sees the floating lights, and she does this on her birthday. And then the third photo, she is reunited with her family. By Rapunzel, taking that step outside the tower, she finds out that she is the lost princess, and she, finds her family and her true love. How does this movie, Disney's Tangled, relate to me? Rapunzel's desire to see the floating lights was similar to my desire to get my graduate degree. For many years, I struggled with whether to go back to school or not, and I would research lots of schools and start to apply, and then I would stop, and I would get very nervous and discouraged, thinking that I couldn't do it. I wasn't smart enough. I knew a master's program would be intense, and I just didn't think that I could do it. And so my insecurities and my negative thoughts, that was my tower. And I, was scared that if I went and I failed, that, I would, disappoint my family, because failure is just not an option in my family. So I decided to, apply to grad school this past August. And, within the first, couple weeks of the class, I just thought, what, this is why you shouldn't have done this. This is too hard. It's too stressful. You've been out of school too long. And all these things started, coming back to me. And, I had to, really evaluate whether I wanted to continue or not. And I understand that stepping outside of my tower and doing this was a big step. And I have to know, my own worth. And in conclusion, life is unpredictable, and you can either learn from, things, or you can allow it to keep you in the tower. And I stepped out of my tower, and yes, there's been, bumps along the way, and I'm sure there's more to come. But I can do this, and I have found the confidence in doing so. And watching a little Disney movie that, she did it. She stepped out of her comfort zone, and the rewards were great. She found her family and her true love. And you have to know your own worth and believe in yourself, and step out and let your journey begin. End of my presentation. Thank you very much. I hope that you have learned something.